Hey guys, welcome back. It's been a minute since I've done some videos, but I'm working on Gregor Eisenhorn's head. I've gotten most of the flesh on there. I'm going to go on and go do the wires and the metal that go into his head. Which again, you can see the detail of the sculpt at 54 millimeters. You know, he's got the pin in him where he's going to go into the body. Let's see if I can keep that centered. But it should be fun to get him painted up. I haven't done anything with this. First things first, I'm going to have to use a little bit of metal, which I don't know if the bronze is going to mix. This is Vallejo bronze, and it has given me all sorts of fun and excitement in mixing up. Just got back from the gym, so I'm a little winded. I've signed up again for another 5K, 40K, something on my head there. Signed up for a 5K again this year because if I don't make myself perform when I run in front of a crowd, I'm not going to run. I'm just not going to go out and do anything at all. I will instead sit here and grow fatter on the old computer desk chair. Let's get that mixed up. There we go. Actually, this bronze is working pretty good. I think it's the Vallejo Air that I have that just does not mix well. There we go. Nice and mixed. But I picked bronze instead of steel for the implants just because for whatever reason the guys who do the 40K modeling, they do a lot of bronze and metallic work. I think it looks older, you know, because you think bronze and you think pre-Middle Ages, you think pre-ancient times, honestly. And back in the time when people were still fighting over Jerusalem. Oh wait, that's still today. When people were fighting over Babylon and Egypt, when Ramses led his armies up into to fight the Hittites in the first recorded battle of ancient history, which Ramses recorded that he won and the Hittites recorded that they had won, so we mostly guess it was probably a draw. But that's your random bit of history there. But you know, back in the time when metal was dear, when metal was expensive, which was why in the old days the wealthy did most of the fighting, or at least the well-off, the middle class, did most of the fighting. The citizen soldiers of the old Grecian city-states, the first armies of the Roman Republic, were all manned by men who could afford to pay, hear my dog barking too, who could afford to pay to have weapons made. It was, since they were wealthy enough and serving part of the community, it was their duty to have weaponry and to serve in the army from age 15. In Rome, it was from when you hit 15, you were required to do 20 summers of service, if I remember my history lessons correctly. And you would stand for the levies every year, and if your name was called, that would count as your 1 year of service. And you might go in, you might go off and do a fight, or you might just be on garrison duty. But the wife is home. I may have to quit this in just a minute. But you were required to do that sort of thing, and you had to pay for your own weapons, to pay for your own armor. And at least in the initial conception. Hello, I'm doing a video. Alright. That gives me a few minutes. She's going to do work in her garden. But depending on your financial status and how much equipment you could provide, would kind of determine which part of the army you were in. The velites, you know, the skirmishers, they were men who could afford a few spears or javelins and maybe a shield, and they would work out in front as skirmishing troops, whereas the people who could afford a full set of, say, a bronze breastplate, or even up until Hannibal's time, there was still what's called the 3-disc chest piece made of bronze, which would cover, it was basically 3 circles laid out in a triangle that would cover your heart and were attached to a bronze belt and bronze shoulder pads that would go over your shoulders. And it would basically protect where they would try to do a thrust to your heart or to your innards, and it would provide some protection. You know, you still, most of your protection was in the giant scutum, the great shield that you carried before yourself. But by the time you get to my age, and most of the age of you guys watching, you would be at least in the Principes, if not in the Triarii, the old men who stood at the back and were the last line of defense and allowed you to get out of the battle if things were going badly. Which to me, that is a very interesting aspect of the Roman military. You didn't know you were going to get Roman history today. Is that the Triarii, the last line of defense, the most skilled soldiers, because they had survived through multiple years of fighting. They were there to be essentially a static wall for the Principe and the Hastati, the first 2 lines of troops, to retreat behind. Even got my coffee. I'm a full professor today. And which means that the Roman army was designed to have the ability to retreat from the battlefield. You know, they had a safe way to get off the field and preserve their armies, which meant that they were very familiar with defeat. And again, that kind of shows you the fisticus and the strictures that they ran through every year, the level of, I guess, ferocity, or it's a hard knock life to be an old Roman. And it kind of explains their rather take no prisoners attitude when it came to defeating people, and we're not going to give up, you know, we're not going to take it sort of attitude. Is, you know, they were just used to fighting hardcore. So, but yeah, that's your random history lesson for today. Thinking of Eisenhorn, I'm going to try to keep it's a very symmetrical set of tubes that go into him. There's 5 that go under his neck, and there's 6 that go on the back of his head. And so my goal is to make it symmetrical color-wise. Actually, there's 8 that go on the back of his neck. Holy crap, look at that. He's all wired up. But to keep things a little uniform, you know, to keep them interesting and yet seemingly some method to the madness. For his augmented cybernetics. I do like the Eisenhorn books. The slow fall of Gregor Eisenhorn into, well, I don't want to give it away, but it's the typical 40K narrative where chaos is everywhere. But helps that Dan Abnett was the one who wrote them, which he is an amazing writer, in my opinion, when it comes to action and adventure. He wrote a lot of the Guardians of the Galaxy? I think he wrote some of those comic book storylines, which I find interesting that he was involved on that. Let's see. There we go. That's nice. Nice looking yaller, as we say here in the South. But yeah, life is going well here. The boys are winding their daycare school year down. The 3-year-old is actually just about potty trained, which is amazing and exciting at the same time. Which those of you with children know the excitement of trying to potty train a 3-year-old into, let's see if I can get this, to convince a 3-year-old that in the potty is a worthy goal to attain and not just near the potty, especially when it comes to the second function of the potty, the number 2, the taking the Browns to the Super Bowl, which luckily he's slowly figuring out how to get all that worked out. But yeah, there we go. There's the yellow on there. I think I'll stop the camera and go on and do the other wires, and then I'll add on the end. I'll show you a little snippet of the finished head. But there's Gregor, and he will probably get some eyeballs here in just a little bit. Oh look, it's even doing facial recognition for my camera. Very interesting. Alright, you guys go. Don't follow the chaos while I'm gone. Alright, I'll see you in a minute. Alright, finished up the head. You see him staring blankly into the face of heresy. You can still hear my neighbor getting their yard done. It took me about 45 minutes to get everything done, and I played a game of World of Tanks after I had painted the eyeball, so that I could get the use the pen to get the eyes in on the white. Overall, not too bad. Now I just have to paint the body and the legs and the all the other gear for him. Anyway, hope you guys are having a good day, and I will see y'all later.